after first semester, I dropped out of Carnegie Mellon. So I just did not register for next semester. So what is the skill set to startup sector? We did that for more than 10 robots, and then we realized that we can't scale it up. There's a whole business reason for it. I mean, people liked it. People are still using it. More than 10 companies are using it. We got these 10 customers within 6 months, all over the world, India, UAE, US.
Welcome to this week's session from Alphabot Robotics community. Today we have with us Mr. Puru Rastogi, who is the CEO and the co-founder of Mowito, a company that specializes in developing navigation stacks and custom modules for their clients. Mr. Puru, we are very happy to have you with us. You can take over now.
Hi everyone, I'm Puru. I make robots for a living, and I make robots for a living. This is what I do. This is what I've been doing since a long time now, right? I mean, before I was not doing it for a living. Before I was doing it for learning. Now I'm doing it for learning as well as living. Most of you started know me because I'm from CMU. I've been talking to you on Discord, giving you advice on master's admission. But actually, there's a long history behind that. So, born in 93, right now 27 years old. I was into robotics since probably middle school. But when I say I'm into robotics, that means I just love robotics. I did not create a robot for a long time. I'm talking about this 2005, 2006, right? At that time, there was no Arduino. I had no idea that Linux is an operating system. I had a Windows computer, and I created circuits and everything, right? But I knew how to do programming in Visual Basic. Actually, I pretty much knew only Visual Basic back then. So, but created small programs, created websites, but robotics, no idea how to do that, right? I just loved robots. And I knew that I had to be in that field, and I knew it from the 4th or 5th standard, right? I found them amazing. So, as if, just like any other, typical Indian kid who wants to be into technical field, I was pushed towards engineering. The idea was not to get into IIT. The idea was to get into best engineering college, right? It was, I was like, if you want to be a best engineer, you got to be in the best college, right? But it was not like, if there's no idea, there's nothing. It was more about just get into whatever you get, but best out of it. Right? So got into IIT Guwahati, got into mechanical, right? Again, not by choice, because that by the rank, right? So, but all I knew was I need to go into robotics somehow. So my first internship was at Hanyang University in South Korea. We had, so it was not like I was that amazing that I got into Hanyang. The college had a program or collaboration with Hanyang University. So they used to take up some people, and I applied there. The guy liked my profile, which at that time had nothing, not even programming. It's just probably I was one of the few who applied there, right? I got there, I made some robots. Fast forward, 3rd year, I interned at CMU Robotics Lab. Again, purely by luck, because my previous professor at previous internship was the student of Howie Chowdhury, who ran that lab. So just a connection there, that guy trusted me, got into it, right? And after the internship at CMU, I was pretty much sure that I have to go for robotics in masters, because if I do not do masters, I do not know how I will learn more about robotics, because in undergrad, you barely learn anything about robotics by coursework, right? And here's the status check here. By the end of 4th year, I knew programming only on MATLAB, right? This is the thing which I always regretted later. I did not use my first 4 years to learn anything new. I knew Arduino coding, C, right? But that's it, C and MATLAB. I knew nothing much more than that. So when I graduated from IIT Guwahati, went on for my master's in mechanical engineering at Carnegie Mellon. I joined mechanical department. I went to my same professor under whom I did my internship, asked him for some work, and he gave me some work. Right, I started programming in MATLAB again because I did not know Python, did not know C++. Right. After that, after that somewhere here, after first semester, I dropped out of Carnegie Mellon. So I just did not register for next semester. I went for an internship in China, in Shenzhen, for a company called Clean Robotics. Clean Robotics was an American company which was incubated at an accelerator called HAX. So HAX was based in Shenzhen, China. That's why I went to there, right? And HAX is like, it's like some organizations, they are like, hey, if you're doing a startup, I will pay you something. You come to my office and work. I will handhold you to do that startup, right? For the first few months. So HAX is one of the best accelerator or incubator for hardware startups, right? Getting into it is a big thing. So Clean Robotics got into it. Clean Robotics hired me to work for them. I had no idea who the founder of Clean Robotics is. I met him once and he trusted me. I don't know why. So he took a bet on me. He trusted me and he said, I will pay you. Just come to China with me, and help me make that robot. Right? I will give you more details about that robot. And it worked out. So we got along well. I spent January 2016 to May 2016, 5 months in Shenzhen, China, helping him make his prototype, right? He was paying me. And it was the first time I was getting paid to make a robot, to make something. So I was like, win-win situation for me, right? You're paying me to make something new. I love it, right? After May, I came back to, Carnegie Mellon to continue my master's. And, I'm Indian, right? So in India, parents were like, you can't just drop out of college, right? You have to finish your college. So that was happening with me. My mom was like, hey, you took a loan for Carnegie Mellon. By the way, in Carnegie Mellon, I literally took loan for everything, right? For my tuition fee, for living expense, everything. And that's why my mom was like, if you went to US, just finish what you went for, right? So I went back. I did my master's. By the way, I changed my lab from biorobotics to air lab. Biorobotics was on snake robots. Air lab was on aerial drones, right? I participated in a competition called MBSERP, which is held in Abu Dhabi every year. It's on aerial drones through lab. I graduated from Carnegie Mellon in 2017, worked at a company called Near Earth Autonomy. It was started by my professor. And I was working on software for aerial drones. And so the thing about aerial drones is it's not just your DJI drones, right? Anything like even an airplane, helicopter, or that Rustam thing which these guys are making at DRDO, right? All these are aerial drones, right? So Near Earth Autonomy was dealing with all of them. It had contracts from Boeing, NASA, etc., right? So the software which we were making ended up being used by all these companies for so I was making a kind of a contingency system for a full-scale airplane, and then for an Apache helicopter, then for a small-scale DJI drone for surveying around. Right? So all these came under our domain. I got bored. I came to India for a vacation, stayed back in India, and then I realized there is a scope for a startup. I quit my job. So when I came to India, I was still working for Near Earth Autonomy remotely. So I was working from home even before this COVID happened. So, even before it was cool, right? So I was working from home even in 2018 and 2019. I mean, Near Earth Autonomy was also very nice. It's a very beautiful company. Thanks to them for tolerating me and letting me work from home. And I quit Near Earth Autonomy. There were other issues also. There was issues with the visa forms and etc. And there was a huge scope for a startup. So I quit it. I started Mowito. Mowito started in 2019. In 2020, we were selling the navigation stack, which is like, if you know, MoveBase and Navigation 2, which is for ROS2. We had our own version. We made it from scratch. It looked quite like Navigation 2, but then, it came out before Navigation 2 came out, right? When Navigation 2 came out, we were like, hey, you made something which we already made, right? So we were supplying similar architecture which you get in Navigation 2, but we were supplying it for ROS1, right? Similar, modular structure, behavior tree, and etc. Right? We did that. We did that for more than 10 robots, and then we realized that we can't scale it up. There's a whole business reason for it. People liked it. People are still using it. More than 10 companies are using it. We got these 10 customers within 6 months, all over the world, India, UAE, US. We could not get anyone in Europe, but India, UAE, US were pretty good. And when we realized that we can't scale it up, we pivoted. Right now, we are making a full-scale robot. We're not supplying just the software. We are making the complete robot for our end customer. Right? I'll get in more details of each of it if you have any questions. But yeah, this is a brief about me till now. Right? If here is where it started. So if anybody has seen this movie, it's really brilliant movie. This guy is Robin Williams. This robot is called Rebo, and the movie was Flubber. Flubber was another character in it, right? So what happened? So during my middle school, when I actually watched this, and then I watched the making of this movie, I realized that this particular yellow thing, the Weibo robot, that's real. You know, it did not used to fly, but it's not a CGI. It's not a computer generated graphic, right? It was in real. They made this, and that was my the point when I was like, I need to make these kind of robots. In then yeah, fast forward to IIT in Guwahati. So here's the thing about me, right? I was into this maker culture from the very beginning. I was not making robots. I was making other devices, but I was doing it since high school, middle school, right? So when I went to IIT Guwahati, I was in mechanical. One of the first things which we realized that there's no SAE club, the automotive club, right? I mean, it was at a very beginning. They did not have anything. So me and all these my friends, we started the automotive club of IIT Guwahati, right? And we made the first trike hybrid cycle for IIT Guwahati. We participated in the competition, but in the second year I quit. In the third year I quit to focus more on robotics. Right? But the whole idea of getting into this club was because I was getting to make something. That was the whole motivation for everything I did. Then I also made this robot. Now, this was my fourth year thesis. We made this in like 2 or 3 months, and rest of the semester we partied. But see, this was my level at that point. As you can see, it's nothing sophisticated. It's just bunch of motors hard coded to move in a certain fashion. Right? All the parameters are hard coded into the Arduino, and that's all this robot is. Right? We created a tail out of it so that it can balance on one wheel or two wheels. But yeah, no computer vision, nothing. Right? People were doing computer vision at our time, but that was I was at a very beginning of all those computations or all those sophisticated technology. Right? And this was the unique part of it. So it's standing on one leg, and that it can do it because it has a tail. So as soon as you remove the tail, it will fall. So basically, the whole concept was the whole unique part was that the tail was giving extra stability to it. You can do things which you can't do without a tail, right? You can highly control the center of gravity of the robot, and when you can do it, you can do much complicated maneuvers. That was the idea. Nothing sophisticated in that. Going deeper into it, as I mentioned, in the second year, I did my internship at Hanyang University. This is something very interesting. I'll show you. The idea is what, let's say the turtle, you put the turtle upside down, right? How will the turtle move? This is the simulation of that. So let me explain. This is actually a bowl, a hemispherical bowl, and these are inverted pendulums. So it is controlling the inverted pendulums to control the oscillation of the robot. Robot is oscillating because it's a hemispherical bottom. It's like a bowl. Right? And if you look carefully, it is actually moving forward. I can fast forward the already fast forwarded thing. So eventually it will start touching the cup. So that was the idea. Like it's called under-actuated locomotion, under-actuated robot, and we are using indirect way to control the locomotion of the robot. So it's like an upside down turtle basically. And again, nothing sophisticated. Everything which was sophisticated was in the maths here, right? And I did not do the maths. I replicated somebody else's work, right? Somebody else did the maths, published a paper. I just replicated his experiments, and I was happy with it. Right? The code was still in Arduino. Nothing Raspberry Pi, no Linux, nothing. I had no idea how to use Linux at that. This was my internship at Robotics Lab, my third year internship. Here we were, so it's a robotics lab, right? So you are inspired by animals, right? So if you know that, if you throw a cat, don't throw a cat, but if the cat falls, right, then it always lands on its feet because it rotates in the midair, right? Even if you if lizards fall from the air, they use their tail to orient themselves. So here we were doing a pitch control for a robot. So it will fall horizontally. You see, I'll replay it. Look in the left. Left is the controlled one. Right is the uncontrolled. In the left, it will orient itself. So that was the whole project. I mean, finally, it was at the end of the day a PID controller which was doing it. Again, nothing sophisticated, but a controller which was coded in Arduino. Right? So again, simple maths, nothing complicated. This was my laboratory. When I went to Carnegie Mellon, I joined Robotics Lab CMU. My professor, my advisor was Hobby Choswick. And these are the kinds of robots I was working on. This is my friend. She came to visit my lab and I made her do this thing. You know, the robot is climbing her leg now. Again, I did not make these robots. I did not code these robots. It's just for demo. I will show you what I did after this. This is what I did. This is the first time I started doing actual good coding. So if you see, the snake head is following my arm, following my hand. The hand has a tracker. This tracker is like a Viacom tracker. It's basically there are cameras fitted at the top which can tell you the location of this tracker, right? So knowing the location of the tracker was nothing sophisticated, not my contribution. Once you know the location of the tracker, how will you make the snake robot follow it? Right? So that was the thing which I did. Now here's the complicated part in it, right? It's not like a 2 degree of freedom arm, 6 degree of freedom arm. It's a 8 degree of freedom snake robot. And it was running on, again, MATLAB, right? So MATLAB is anyway slow. And then doing inverse kinematics for a 8 degree of freedom robot is a complicated thing, right? So I created a planner called RRT. It's again an implemented algorithm, already implemented algorithm. I made it implement for this snake robot, right? Because they have so many degrees of freedom. You can't just do inverse kinematics and find their stuff. You have to plan more sophisticatedly, right? You have to figure out what are the sets of angles. What is the trajectory of each angle through which you can reach that given pose. And then, once you know that these are the poses of the end effector, then you can do inverse kinematics one by one. But planning for the entire thing with the 8 degree of freedom arm, that's you can't do it by simple means. Right? You have to use probabilistic methods like RRT. And okay, so as I mentioned, I dropped out of CMU in the second semester. Then I went to Hacks to make this robot. So Trashbot is a robotic trash can which can sort the trash automatically inside itself. So you put your trash into this hole. Internally, it has two trash cans, dustbin, and there's a chamber. Once the trash is inside the chamber, it takes a picture, does the computer vision, does the machine learning, classifies it into recyclable landfill, and then throws it into the right trash can. And I will show you here. This thing is patented now. This thing is patented now. over the world. It's a pretty good company. It's still running. It's running out of Boulder, Colorado. So that's the main funda. So if you see, you put your trash into it from one of the hosts. These are the two analyzing chambers, and they rotate. Once it takes a picture. So when I was at HAX Shenzhen, I worked both on the hardware and the software. That's my strength. I'm a maker, right? So I can make the prototype of anything, whether it's hardware, software, electronics, anything, right? But again, a prototype, not a finished product. So we made it at in HAX Shenzhen, and then we moved back to Pittsburgh, and they again worked on the hardware, made it production level hardware. Software, they still use what I created. So they still use the software which I developed, which is a good part. But yeah, lots of computer vision, lots of machine learning. This is the first time I was doing Python programming. This was when I was in second semester of master's, which I dropped out. So you can imagine, like I was 2015 I graduated, 2016 I was doing Python programming. I learned Python programming on the job while at HAX within few weeks. I had to, right? Because this thing had a Raspberry Pi, which had to talk to all the machine learning models, send the images, upload the images on the cloud also for further analysis, and then talk to the Arduino to move the motors, right? So all this Raspberry Pi, Arduino, cloud stuff, I learned for the first time. I created it, right? Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So I learned for the first time, and yeah. So it's purely on the job, and that's when I got my first learning that no matter how much you try to learn anything new, you can't learn any new language, any new skill until and unless you have an active project to work on it, right? So if you are trying to learn C++, Python, ROS, anything, take up a project, right? Or take up an internship, unpaid internship, and then do it, and you will learn whatever you want. If you start, just doing lead code, hacker rank to learn C++, that's not gonna work. You won't learn it. You will just learn how to crack the interview, and that's it. Right? You won't learn how to make something. Okay, so fast forward, completed my internship at HAX Shenzhen, China, and then I came back to CMU. This time I switched my lab from Robotics Lab to the Air Lab, and this was our Air Lab team. This guy is the professor, and this is the whole giant lab he used to command. And I must be somewhere here. I'm here. This is me. Right? And I think there is a drone also, but okay, never mind. So hold on. Before this starts, so we went for a competition called MBSer. This was the team on the right. Gitesh, Hajaria, Puru, Basti, and I forgot this guy's name. And the competition was about how to make your drone land on a moving vehicle, right? And this is the video from Pittsburgh where we were testing it. I do not have an actual video from the competition because I was already stressed out. I mean, when you have a drone, when you have a competition, you are more focused on that than recording a video, right? And nobody recorded my video, so I don't have any. You can watch this video.
Start the video.
That's a Varaksh. That's the drone, and yeah. Come on. Yeah. And there it goes. So yeah, that's it. Yeah. So if you talk about the real world application, it's basically, can you take off from a moving car and can you land on a moving car, or can you take off from a ship, a naval ship, and can you land on it, right? Again, this was Air Lab. Air Lab was closely linked to Near Earth. Near Earth also did something similar later to land the drone on moving ships, right? And this is a general video. So yeah, I graduated from Carnegie Mellon in 2017, joined Near Earth Autonomy. this is the kind of work which we used to do at near Autonomy. The drone is supposed to scan the whole area, and without the help of GPS, move around, locate itself, avoid obstacles. There's always a safety palette involved just in case you take it over. But as you see, I mean, it has a defined path. I mean, you can define a path beforehand, but it's up to the drone how it follows that path, how it avoids the obstacle. And as some of you might know, GPS does not work when you are inside a building or under a roof. So it was working without GPS. Or you can say intermittent GPS, basically, not a complete GPS. So that's a very interesting challenge if anybody is working on drones. GPS is reliable only in certain range, in certain areas. If you are going inside a tunnel, inside a forest, inside a building, or close to, even close to a building, even if you're outside, if you are in the shadow of a building, your GPS will not work. And you need to make your drone work without that, basically, aerial drone, right? So that is why a lot of people are working on making aerial drones work with intermittent GPS. That is, if you lose the GPS for next 10 minutes, how will you make it work? The challenges happen in snow. In let's say if you are trading a drone for Indian Army in Himalayas, right? One of the ways you work without GPS is by looking at your odometry. You get your odometry from IMU. You get your odometry from vision, right? You look at the ground, and by looking at the ground, you try to figure out how much you have moved by tracking the features. Now, here's the challenge. There's no feature on the ground if you are flying above the snow, right? If you're on a snow, everything is white. And trust me, we could not anticipate this problem. We were testing it after a snowfall, and everything was white. The drone was not getting any feature. It was getting lost. We literally have to drive our truck on the snow to make some features. Right? But these are the kind of challenges we used to deal at near Earth, right? How to make a drone fly. Because controlling a drone was not that big of a deal. I mean, it was still a complicated thing, but flying a drone, if there's no fast winds, that's still simple, right? What is not simple, how do you locate the drone? How do you do the obstacle avoidance? Or when the wind actually flies, or when the wind is actually very high, right? Wind velocity, then how do you control the drone? So controlling a drone inside a closed chamber or without any wind or under open sky, that's easy part. The things becomes more complicated when you have to make it go few kilometers in all kinds of weather, right? Even if there's a little bit of wind, how will you make it possible, right? How will you make it robust? And that is the main challenge which I believe people are facing when it comes to drone delivery. What I'm doing now, I'm doing Mowito. Why I'm doing it, long story, but if I try to summarize it, I came back to India. I realized that I can. There's a possibility of doing a startup in India. There's a big gap in the software skills of engineers, which a lot of startups have, because a lot of people who want to become a robotics engineer leave India for Europe and United States. So the people who work in the robotics companies are not trained robotics engineers, so they end up taking open source code and modifying it, right? We realize we can give them a better quality of navigation stack if we have a dedicated team working completely on just developing the navigation stack. And all these robot makers, they can decrease their team and just decrease their software team and just focus on the hardware and get the software from us. So basically outsource their software requirement to us, right? And since we are working dedicatedly 24/7 on this part, we definitely can give them a better solution than what they can build themselves with a 2-people team, right? 2 people, 3 people, 10 people team. We have like 10 people team working 24/7 for this. So that was the USP. Some of you might have seen this video. Right. Actually, music makes it better. So this is one off-the-shelf robot which we used. Put a navigation stack into it and did the obstacle avoidance. Now this was at the beginning. like at the first iteration of our navigation stack. That was around in June or May of 2020, the first iteration. The video is running very slowly, but yeah, it's faster. You can check it out on our website, Mowito's website. So that's all about it. I will. This is one more. So this is another robot which this video was recorded in January. So back then this robot was under development. Right? It's another customer whose robot was under development. We were just testing it out. So we did not work on the hardware. We did not put even a single bolt in that robot. We just loaded it with our software, tuned it, and made it run. So it's running our navigation stack, which was on Rossman. We had, like this, we have like 8 more videos, but everything is same. Finally, the robot is running, avoiding the obstacles, but every time the robot is different. Cool. This is it. That's my mom. That's the Baxter robot. She visited my lab.
Thank you so much, Mr. Puru. That was a very, very nice session. Yeah, your entire journey was very inspiring. And yeah, we do have a couple of questions in the chat box.
So what is the skill set do startups require? See, every startup needs a maker, every hardware startup. So if you can do or you can learn quick enough to do lots of things, then that's what a startup, especially at early stage, will require. For example, I do not expect everybody to know ROS. Right? I have recruited people who have no idea about ROS. Right? But the basic skill I need is C++, Python, and if you know Linux, then that's great, right? And fine, even if you do not know any of them or you're not strong in any of them, I give you a task to implement RRT from scratch, right, in any language you want, and show it to me. Now, the reason I give it is, I'm not expecting you to know RRT, right? I'm not expecting you to know any algorithm. What I'm testing you is whether you can learn something new and implement it yourself. There will be an interview, I will ask you the basic question, but if you cannot implement an algorithm which I give to you, you won't be able to do anything in the job. Because half of the time, the students or the kids or the full-time engineers, they are doing things which a lot of time I do not know, I have not tried, they have not tried, or nobody in the world has tried. So implementing A-star, implementing BFS, DFS, which HackerRank would have asked you to implement hundreds of times, that does not help. Right? You are not going to implement that in the job. You're not even going to implement the RRT which I give you as a task. You're going to implement something really, really new. Right? So all I want is to have this maker mindset that fine, you do not know how to do it, but you will learn and you will do it. Right? You will not give it up. Right? I really dislike the people who said that, hey, I'm from mechanical background, I'm from civil engineering background, I do not know how to code. Is there something else I can do? Like, I don't care. Like, I need people who code. I need people who know a little bit of electronics. I need people who can learn, SLAM in, next 1 week and implement the SLAM algorithms, right? Like, you don't need to implement it from scratch. You can take somebody else's code, copy, paste, modify. I don't care. Just get it done. Right? That's what is more important to me. If you tell me that you can't do it, no, not going to happen, right? You can tell me that it's difficult. It will take a lot of time. Right, I will help you out. I will give you my time. We have 2 advisors, or 2 other senior people. Himanshu, who's doing a PhD right now, so you can understand his level of experience. And there's Arihant, who is again a 5 years of industry experience. They will literally tell you what to code, but you have to do it. Right? If you tell me by the end of the day, I do not know C++, so I can't do it, dude, then there's no space in the start. In my startup or probably in any other startup, right? So have that maker mindset, right? That you can do anything, but you need time, which is fine. That is super important. Okay.